Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
We begin tonight with an absolute tragedy out of Potter County, Pennsylvania. 5 teenagers killed in a house fire and 2 adults also injured and in the hospital tonight. Big Fox's Matt Kleindienst was just at the scene today where the pile of rubble is still smoldering. He has new details about the victims.
Good evening, Ann. The names of the 5 children who died in the fire were identified earlier this morning, and community members are rallying together to organize GoFundMe pages for the families. A Genesee home continues to smolder after a massive fire on Monday morning. Rescue crews were called to the scene after reports of a chimney fire. The fire resulted in the deaths of 5 children, brothers Raymond, Tristan, and Evan Irway, Michaela Rouleau, and Krista Kane. The parents of the 3 brothers managed to escape the fire and were both rushed to nearby hospitals. Community members have already shown an outpouring of support as GoFundMe pages have been established for the families of the 5 kids. The pages have collectively raised over $48,000 as of Tuesday afternoon. Police say the cause of the fire appears to be accidental. Matt Kleindienst, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
An investigation now underway following a shooting on a New York City subway this morning. Police are now looking for a motive. David Lee Miller has more.
Terrified commuters poured out of a New York City subway train as it pulled into this Brooklyn station, moments after a gunman set off a smoke canister inside.
He then opened fire, striking multiple people on the subway and in the platform.
Police say a male suspect who was last seen wearing a green construction vest and a gas mask hit several people before getting away.
They had no caring about the individuals that they assaulted as they simply went about their daily lives.
This 15-year-old was on the train headed to school.
I didn't know what to do. I just got off the train. I stayed by some police officers.
John Ramsey, who lives in the neighborhood, saw people fleeing the station, some of them injured.
I'm mystified as to who would want to, hit this area.
Residents here in New York City have seen a rise in gun violence and overall crime during the pandemic. Good Samaritans sprung into action to help those who were hurt.
We saw New Yorkers in a difficult situation, an emergency, helping each other. That's the subway riders. That's who New Yorkers are.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who's working from home after testing positive for COVID, released a video statement.
We would not allow New Yorkers to be terrorized, even by a single individual.
A law enforcement official tells CBS News authorities have not ruled out terrorism as a motive as they search for the suspect. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
New York Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin has resigned after being arrested in connection with his alleged participation in a scheme to obtain campaign contributions in exchange for securing a state grant, according to an indictment. Benjamin was indicted on multiple counts, including bribery and honest services wire fraud conspiracy. Bribery, honest services wire fraud, and 2 counts of falsification of records for an alleged conspiracy that took place while he was a state senator. Governor Hochul said New Yorkers deserve confidence in their government, and it was clear Benjamin could not stay in his role. President Biden announced new restrictions on homemade guns, also known as ghost guns. The president, along with Vice President Harris, made remarks in the Rose Garden. The president said these so-called ghost guns do not have serial numbers, which makes it harder for law enforcement to track down the people who purchased them. They're being found at more and more crime scenes, and it's nearly impossible to trace the weapons. President Biden announced the finalization of a rule that would require the makers of gun kits to require a serial number.
These guns are weapons of choice for many criminals. We're going to do everything we can to deprive them of that choice. And when we find them, put them in jail for a long, long time.
Second Amendment advocates have pushed back against the new rule on ghost guns, arguing that reining in on privately made firearms infringes on their constitutional right.
Officer, my kids are panicking. People are sick back there. We got to get off this plane.
Chaos erupts on a JetBlue flight. Terrified passengers were seen pleading with crew members to let them off the plane. The passengers were traumatized after the Cancun to JFK flight made several unsuccessful attempts to land at JFK International Airport due to poor weather. The plane eventually had to divert and land in Newark. But when they were told they had to wait until the weather cleared, irate passengers were pleading with the crew to deplane. The plane eventually landed safely at JFK, 7 hours late. Now to the latest in Ukraine. Russia has reportedly completed its buildup of forces for a renewed assault on Ukraine's eastern regions. Alex Hogan has more from Lviv, Ukraine.
The fighting in Mariupol is intensifying on day 48 of the war in Ukraine. The city, a key strategic target for Russia, has been under siege for 6 weeks, with Ukrainian defenders refusing to give up. Now the city's mayor says at least 10,000 civilians have been killed, and the death toll could ultimately be closer to 20,000, with the Russians allegedly bringing in mobile crematoriums to help dispose of the bodies.
Documents are taken away from them. They are interrogated, humiliated. It is unclear how many people were killed.
As the battle rages on, Russian forces are reportedly in the final stages of repositioning for a major offensive in the east, focused on taking over the Donbass, an industrial region controlled by pro-Russian rebels for much of the past 8 years. And the Pentagon says it expects to see more targeting of civilians in the coming days.
We can certainly say by what we've seen in the past, we're probably turning another page in the same book of Russian brutality.
Ukraine's president urging European leaders on Tuesday to sanction Russia's oil industry. But Russian President Vladimir Putin says that won't make a difference, and his military will achieve its goals in Ukraine regardless of the campaign to isolate Russia's economy.
We are not going to be isolated. No one can be isolated in the modern world, and it's impossible to do with a country as huge as Russia.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warning that Russia could use chemical weapons as he continues to urge NATO and the West to take stronger action. In Lviv, Ukraine, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Your complete forecast is coming up next.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
We were able to dry out after some overnight rain showers, but we will turn on the switch to bring back some rain and even some stronger thunderstorms. Now, as we head into the overnight, a warm front is going to be lifting into the state of New York. What that's going to do is bring the heat and humidity through the overnight, keeping temperatures into the 40s, but then allowing for the warmth to build throughout the day on Wednesday, and could allow for instability to cause for some scattered thunderstorms, and may even have to mention a few of them potentially becoming severe. The threat's low, but it is still in place for your Wednesday, so we'll stay wary there. And then as we head into Thursday, a few storms could linger as a cold front is expected to then swing through and bring in cooling temperatures as we head into the weekend, and a holiday weekend at that as well. Now, overnight tonight, we will watch again cloud cover increase, but lows not bottoming out too much. We sit into those mid to lower 40s for lows. Typically this time of the year, we're still even dropping into those lower 30s. Now, when we trend to watch that threat for severe weather, as mentioned, you're seeing that much of the area is under this darker green. And what that darker green means is that we have this marginal risk. So a level 1 out of 5 different levels that there are on the scale. Now, we are seeing that all variables are at play. So you're talking potential large hail, some gusty winds, and maybe some brief tornadoes, but all on the lower threat there. And we'll see if there is any potential upgrades as we head into your Wednesday forecast. But rolling through that forecast, you can see that daytime has that morning sunshine that could build some instability, but then we see that isolated threats is mainly what we're dealing with. You don't have any formulation of those storms, but that isolated threat could still bring times of those severe weather parameters. And then Thursday starts quiet, but your cold front is just outside of Pennsylvania, and that's what's going to be swinging in, bringing another round of maybe a few rumbles of thunder and some showers and thunderstorms. So high temperatures on Wednesday. Our average for this time of the year is 57. We could be climbing near the 80s. So even if we see some of that morning sunshine, it is going to be a sticky one with a cloud cover around as well. You can see the forecast even has the potential of some isolated showers as early as the mid-morning, and that's not going to stop any of that warming. You're at 70 degrees as of noon Wednesday. So noting that that potential is there, and that's going to fuel the chance to see that those storms are going to be the strongest into the mid-afternoon through those evening hours, as that system will then continue to extend off to the north of the region. So be prepared for the heat, as it is going to again linger into your Thursday. We even see a high forecasted for Thursday at 73 degrees. So that could still bring some instability again for some thunderstorms. Right now, risk is low for that, but still have that potential there. Now, average for this time of the year, 58 by tomorrow. That's going to keep climbing through the weekend, but the temperatures are expected to fall through the weekend. So we'll get quiet conditions on Friday after that soggy weather the next few days. 65 degrees, so not bottoming out, but the trend does continue to fall. We even see the 50s as early as that Easter holiday on Sunday with partly cloudy skies, and then next week we even get as cold as 40 degrees on your Tuesday.
Inflation hits another 40-year high. Small biz optimism takes a dip, and the world's busiest airport. Cheryl Casone has these stories and more in today's Business Briefs.
The Consumer Price Index for March showing the largest year-over-year increase in 4 decades, 8.5%. A large part of that increase is believed to be caused by the Ukraine war and the surge in energy prices. Excluding food and energy, prices are still up 6.5% year-over-year. Though gas prices have moderated in recent weeks, they do remain near record highs. Well, small business confidence slipped last month to the lowest level in nearly 2 years. The National Federation of Independent Business Optimism Index declined for the 3rd month in a row. Small business owners are expressing concern about staffing and supply chain disruptions. Well, Facebook parent company Meta spending a fortune to keep CEO Mark Zuckerberg and his family safe in 2021. $27 million went to an overall security program, according to an SEC filing. That included $15 million for Zuckerberg at his residences and during travel, and then $10 million for an annual pre-tax allowance that helped his wife and children. Meta says it's all necessary because Zuckerberg is such a high-profile executive. And Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport has once again reclaimed its throne as the world's busiest airport. In 2021, Atlanta saw 75.7 million passengers, up a whopping 76% from 2020, but still down more than 30% from pre-pandemic levels. Overall, global air travel continues to rebound from the pandemic. Airports Council International World reporting there were nearly 4.5 billion global flight passengers in 2021, an increase of nearly 25% from 2020. Well, for more stories, log on to foxbusiness.com. In New York, I'm Cheryl Casone.
The U.S. is one of many countries imposing strict sanctions on Russia after its invasion of Ukraine. But now federal officials are warning that those sanctions could cause Russian cybercriminals to retaliate. Kevin Cork has more on who could be at risk and how you can protect your assets online.
The Justice Department will use every available tool to find you.
Federal officials warn of an increase in cyber threats from Russian criminals and oligarchs trying to evade U.S. sanctions, citing the potential for them to target the finances of American businesses and private citizens or hide their assets and redistribute their wealth.
We have our eyes on every yacht and jet. We have our eyes on every piece of art and real estate purchased with dirty money.
Criminal justice professionals say the longer the war drags on, the more financial pain the sanctions could cause. And as their funds dry up, cyber criminals could prepare to launch new attacks on your digital wallet.
Hackers, whether working on behalf of the state or on their own, could start targeting cryptocurrencies as a means to get money back.
Besides making sure your username and password are strong, officials say be sure to watch out for email scams trying to obtain your login credentials.
It's imperative that you don't respond.
The FBI also sounding the alarm, issuing a new report warning of business email compromise. It's a process where cybercriminals hack into email accounts and trick victims into sending money, usually for bills, to a bank account established by the thief. Cyber experts also predict hackers will start focusing more on attacking critical infrastructure, places like hospitals and power companies, to try to inflict greater harm and seek higher amounts of ransomware. I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
The deadline to file your taxes is soon, but what do you do if you won't have your taxes finished? The IRS says those who need more time can ask for an extension by April 18th, which is the last day to file to avoid a penalty fee. Currently, the fee is 5% of unpaid taxes for each month the payer is behind. To request this extension, you'll need to fill a Form 4868. It will also ask you to provide a rough approximate of how much you owe to the agency. The IRS will give you until October 17th to file. A busboy at a Phoenix Dennys has been serving up smiles since 1978. Barney has a work ethic and an attitude that both staff and customers say is infectious. Bailey Miller has more on Barney's 40 years on the job.
If you've dined at the Dennys on Camelback and 7th Street within the last 40 years, you have seen Barney. He cleans up the dishes and wipes down the tables, all while saying hello to the customers.
Hey, good.
But he's doing a lot more than just keeping the restaurant sparkling clean.
His whole attitude and demeanor is very infectious.
His boss for the last 14 years, Joe Wood, says his presence and work ethic is something everyone, employees and customers, can see.
He is literally the best employee I've ever had.
Wood says he's always on time, never misses a day, and never wants to stop working.
When you see somebody with those kind of challenges, and as hard as they work, it becomes a lot harder for people to make excuses.
Barney's a role model for the developmentally disabled and intellectually disabled.
Not only have his employees fallen in love with Barney, but customers too. Some have come for the last several decades just to see him. The food is just a bonus. Barney says he loves his work, and the reason why, he says, it's the people.
Nice people.
Actor Johnny Depp and his ex-wife, actress Amber Heard, face off in a Virginia courtroom. Attorneys from both sides will begin making their case today. David Spunt has more.
Are we ready with opening statements?
Opening statements getting underway in Fairfax, Virginia, in the case between actor Johnny Depp and his ex-wife, actress Amber Heard.
Mr. Depp built a reputation as one of the most talented actors in Hollywood. A respected artist. Today, his name is associated with a lie.
Depp is suing Heard for $50 million, saying she defamed him in a 2018 Washington Post op-ed about being a survivor of domestic abuse. While the piece never mentioned Depp by name, the actor's attorneys insist it damaged his reputation. Heard's attorneys will argue she told the truth and Depp was always the aggressor.
Depp's side really has the benefit of hearing what Amber has to say and what her allegations are.
By Monday afternoon, 7 jurors plus 4 alternates were selected for the trial. They could hear from a long list of high-profile witnesses, including Tesla CEO Elon Musk and actor James Franco. The Virginia trial is part of a bitter legal battle between the couple. In 2020, Depp lost his libel case against a British tabloid that labeled him a wife-beater. A UK judge ruled Depp repeatedly assaulted Heard and made the actress fear for her life.
They've already gone through this. They've already aired a lot of dirty laundry.
The trial is expected to last 6 weeks. In Fairfax, Virginia, David Spunt, Fox News.
We want to leave you with a smile. Krispy Kreme wants to ease pain at the pump. The donut chain will be offering a dozen glazed donuts for the price of a gallon of unleaded regular gas. The deal will be available on Wednesdays through May 4th, starting this week. Krispy Kreme will set the price based on the AAA national average price of a gallon of regular gasoline on the Monday of each week. Customers can get up to 2 dozen donuts for the price of a gallon of gas. The price is normally in the $10 range. From our whole team, thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great rest of your day.